night we had an emergency episode tonight. There's some issues going on with the club with the whole Pellegrino movement. So basically, we're going to discuss that tonight. We have quite a feew reaction videos playing, actually 3. So it is a few, and then we have one voicemail to play you guys. So we'll discuss thereafter. But if you guys want to get involved by chatting with us along on Periscope, on YouTube, or Facebook, we are streaming live simultaneously. So chat away with us as we go along. I'm going to be doing other stuff. So if any of you on the show want to keep an eye on the comments, that would be cool. So let me pull this up real quick. I'm going to this video. That would probably work better if I play the audio. Did you guys hear that?
No.
Didn't hear anything at all.
Okay. Yep, that's technical difficulty number 1. All right, hold on. Wayne taught me this. I actually forgot to share the audio.
Hey, Tommy, if you're not talking, you should probably mute your mic. That's better.
There we go. Suspense is killing me.
Yeah, I know. You know what though? It's not going to let me fucking. There we go. Share the audio.
This is the way I felt waiting for that team list to come out this morning.
I don't know if you guys see the comments, but Wally just said that's a solemn-looking bunch of guys.
Yeah,
this is like a wake.
It's a funeral in here.
I wish it was a funeral. I wish we were burying a fucking Chilean.
So you guys are going to have to stay tuned for after the show when I actually upload that video to YouTube, because for whatever reason it's only allowing me to share audio on my Chrome tabs, not my application windows on my computer. So yeah, but we'll get right into the voicemail that was left for us, which
let's hear that, Tim, because I'm sure
I'm
sure that they were very reasonable on the voicemail. I just balls.
And let me just say, Roberto is probably one of the worst goalkeepers in Premier League history, if not the worst. I said this before, I'll say it again. What the hell is he doing here? Despite the fact that he has Champions League experience somehow, he looks like shit. He looks like shit. There are better goalkeepers in the NPSL here in the States than Roberto. And it's pathetic. It's goddamn pathetic that a Premier League team has a backup goalkeeper who cannot stop shots. He just can't. It's absolutely pathetic. And the team is suffering. The team looks like shit. The best moments from the team that I saw today after the first goal. And after that, we kept pushing. Don't get me wrong, we pushed. Getting those 2 goals were great, but they're garbage time goals and a loss. Now, if Declan Rice was on sides, this would be a different story, and we would have drawn Tottenham, which I would have been thrilled with. But at the same time, we didn't, because he was offsides, and he was offsides. I'm not going to deny that. But we need to play better, and that means that we need to change information, and Pellegrini's not getting that. I think somebody from the board needs to come down and say to him, We need to change formation. This ain't working. Because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you keep buying the same bottle of Jameson over and over and over again, it's going to be the same exact quality. Nothing's going to change. And that's what's happening. Nothing is changing. We need to change our bottle because right now our bottle is not working and nothing is working. I mean, well, the only thing that worked for today was after we scored the first goal and everything came back. But I'm glad Antonio's back. He's a big part of this team. And once Fabianski does come back healthy, I do believe that we're going to start to see a better West Ham team. We're going to start to see more clearances to Antonio from Fabianski to get the ball to Allaire, to get Allaire open, and now we have chance. Now we're going to have chances. But then again, Fabianski's not going to come back until early next year. So we still have a couple more games where we're stuck with Roberto unless Pellegrini says we're done with Roberto and we're going to bring in the backup.
All right.
I think he's very optimistic.
Yeah, we're not going to start suddenly playing well just because Antonio's back. He's not going to solve all of our issues.
That's the thing, is that I kind of was talking about that off the air. I mean, before we started, if the game had just ended 3-0, it would have been automatic Pellegrini out. But all those Pellegrini out people, I think seeing Antonio out there on the pitch and seeing Ogbonna score that second goal and almost scoring that third goal if it wasn't offsides. And yes, Declan Rice was way more offsides than Harry Kane was any of those times they called him off.
Yeah.
But it unfortunately we ended the game like that, and then it shows optimism. It showed a shining little piece of light for these people that were on the fence about Pellegrini out or not. So, I mean, us on the show for the most part, I'd say 75% of us on American Hammers TV have been, no, it's enough's enough. Get him out. It's bullshit. Same bullshit over and over again. Like Zach said, you can't keep doing the same thing. Expect different results. So, I don't know. Let's get Tommy on here and get his thoughts real quick. And what do you think, man? What do you think about the voicemail? What do you think about the atmosphere?
Yeah, look, I think we're all very eager to have Fabianski back in the side. Roberto is just a disaster. He's not a goalkeeper. He's stealing a living. I don't know why we signed him or why anybody at the club thought this guy was going to be a good backup. I suspect what happened was that there was only a certain amount of transfer funds, and in order to get the Haller deal over the line, the Fornells deal over the line, they needed to get in a couple of freebie keepers so that they didn't have to spend money on them, so they could get other deals over the line, get the players they wanted. And he gambled on the fact that Fabianski has a brilliant injury record, played every game last season, and I think he just crossed his fingers and said, look, Fabianski will probably be there every single game. The backup keeper won't be an issue. And then, of course, a few games in against Bournemouth, he goes out with a muscle injury, and now we've got no choice but to play this calamity of a keeper in goal. And it's just a gamble that I think has completely backfired. So we're all very eager for Fabianski to come back in, and that will certainly help. He won't let some of the shots in that Roberto has, and the defenders in front of him, I'm sure, will be more confident and play probably a bit better knowing he's back there. But as you say, Tim, I think you're right. I think our problems run a lot deeper than just the goalkeeper position. So it will help, certainly, but it will not solve our problems. We're not suddenly going to start beating everyone.
No,
we've got a culture problem at this club. This goes well beyond the goalkeeper. There is a culture problem at West Ham United that has been there probably for as long as I've been a fan. Tim, I want to say something about a point that you made. You were saying about 70% of American Hammers were Pellegrini out. I've been in that 30%. I am a staunch old school guy. I think you need to give the manager time.
Yeah.
I'm turning. If I haven't already turned, because you've had 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks to get this team, and granted some of them are off on international duty, that's fine. But you've had 2 weeks to at least put out a professional performance, and they can't even do that after this game. If you're worth your salt, if you're making that kind of money, if you've got these players in there that we brought in for tens of millions of pounds, I'm sorry, but you've got to show up against our biggest rivals. You have to show up, and there's no excuses for what happened today.
Just real quickly, John, how much time you're saying you would give you'd like to give managers time? How much time generally? Not just saying about Pellegrini, but like how much time is enough?
It's a difficult question, Tim. I mean, if you go back 20, 30 years ago where it didn't matter so much if you got relegated and can come back up, then, you can talk a couple of years. I started supporting West Ham when Billy Bonds was in charge, and, you could go up and down and it wasn't that big of a deal because it didn't mean that much revenue-wise. These days, managers are getting a year and a half at most, and if they don't have anything done by then they're already out the door. I disagree with it personally. I don't like it, but that's the reality that we live in. And maybe it's time for people like me to actually turn around and go, well,
not necessarily keep up with the Joneses, but at the same time, we got to that's the game these days. Yeah, and if everybody else is doing that, then we kind of have to say, why are we hanging on to this?
We got to do something.
You have to play the modern day game, and the modern day game is all about what you're saying, John. I'm the oldest out of the whole bunch here, I think, probably. So I remember those times where, we prided ourselves on hanging on to our managers, and we did all right like that. But just the same as we had to move on from the bowling, okay, because if we hadn't, as much as I fucking hate the fact that we had to do it, but we had to, otherwise we would have fucking dwindled off into insignificance even more than what we were. Okay, we have to play the modern game, and the modern game means you get a manager in there and you say to him, okay, fucktard, if you can't fucking get us something in the first 6 fucking months, we've got this fucker lined up to come in and take your job, okay? And maybe it needs to be somebody on his staff, and you start talking to them and say, okay, he's fucking useless, he's fucking going senile, he's sitting on his fucking stool with a fucking cucumber up his ass. You need to fucking either yank that cucumber out of his ass or ram it so fucking far up that he dies and you fucking take over. Because that's the way I fucking feel about it right now. I'm sick to death of this fucking old fucking retarded fucking senile old cunt doing to our team what should never be fucking done to a team. And I'm the positive person out of this group.
Before we go to John, the other John, so Wayne, Jesus Christ, or not just Wayne, but everybody else. Like, do you think that us signing Pellegrini to such a long contract in modern day terms kind of gave him took away the sense of urgency, or like basically what you were saying, John Nolan, was that, hey, you know what, not you, John, I'm sorry, Wayne was saying, you know what, give the guy 6 months and tell him, like, listen, man, you got 6 months to sort this shit out, and this is the way it is. But no, we gave him a 3-year contract with an option of a 4th, right?
No manager's going to sign for a 6-month contract. They're all going to want at least.
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying.
No,
but
he's fucking available.
No, but I'm saying by signing someone to a 4-year or a 3-year deal with a 4th-year option, like, do you think that kind of took away the sense of urgency to get shit going?
I'd rather have fucking Tommy's pussy as the fucking manager. Tommy's pussy's got more fucking sense. Look, there's more fucking spark, more fucking life in the eyes of that cat than that old fucking bastard from Chile.
Oh, Jesus.
I wish Wayne would hold back so much, and just tell us what he really thinks.
I'm pissed today. I'm so pissed. Yeah. I've had enough.
Well, I was with John Nolan. You asked me 2 weeks ago, and I said, look, we got to see it out. We got to give him time. We got to let him. He's building his squad. He's still got things he's trying to do, and he's done it in other clubs. And I still think he has the quality to turn it around. But not today was it. Today was it for me. Like John said, he's had 2 weeks. He's been saying, oh no, we've prepared. This actually, the international break was great for us. Now we can get back to basics, and there were no basics on display. There was no passion on display. I mean, we can't expect Mark Noble to have the only heart on the entire pitch that's wearing claret and blue. You know what I'm saying? Like
he was fantastic.
He always is. I mean,
yeah.
Mark typically plays as well as the people around him.
Yeah.
Today he rose above it, and because it means something to him. It means something to Antonio. We know that because of how he celebrated when he, scored in their toilet bowl. So, we know to some of these players, it means something. Didn't mean anything to Anderson today, did it? off at halftime. I mean, can you imagine, how much we paid for him and he gets subbed at halftime? I mean, look, I just don't see so my thing with Bilic that I used to get upset about, and I love Bilic. I mean, like, amazing guy. The thing that I used to get so frustrated was I didn't see the plan. I looked out there with Bilic and we were running around. Bilic's tactical idea was go play football, right? I mean, like, that was pretty much it. With Pellegrini, it's like, stick to the plan, and here's the formation, and then that's it. I mean, like, I don't know. There's no depth to this plan. There's no
fucking plan B.
Flexibility. So
there's no plan B.
No,
a good manager goes in. A good manager goes in and says, "This is what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to do, lads. You take this person. You take this. If you see this open up, this is what you go. If that doesn't work, then guess what? We're going to turn it around, and this is what you'll be doing."
Yeah, and we don't have.
It's like he's been sitting for 2 weeks with his thumb up his arsehole.
Well, we don't have 10 South Americans or 10 Spaniards out there who are so technically gifted that they can go out there and just intuit exactly what he wants us to do and play that way. It's not the same league. He's not at Man City anymore. He's not at, in Spain. So he can't play the same type of football. He's not adapting. He seems bewildered. He's lost. Today, this is a results, business. And today was it for me.
He walks around though. Pellegrini walks around like he's oblivious to all this negativity though. No one's going up to him. No one's going to him and telling him, like, hey, dude, this ain't right. Like, look at the fucking results. That's the other problem I have with not seeing what goes on with the training pitch, or at least not hearing any feedback, like, daily. Or what goes on with the training pitch.
I wonder, does David Sullivan even speak to him? I mean, if that's me, if that's my club, and I'm paying this guy $8 million a year, having to sit in the director's box game after game after game and watch that shit, I'm hauling his ass into my office.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, listen, I'm not paying you for that bullshit.
But
you need to turn this shit around and do it fucking fast.
Yeah. But you got to think about the whole idea of getting Pellegrini was so that we wouldn't have David Sullivan calling someone into their office every week and saying, okay, actually, I want you to play like this, and I want you to do this, and my son's found this wonderful guy on Football Manager you need to sign. The whole idea was that we finally had someone in charge that we could give the reins to, who was a proper football man and not David Sullivan.
Well, that's a good point. Who is in fucking charge? Because I always thought it was the director of football that was supposed to be in charge.
No, it's still Sullivan. It's still Sullivan. And you're going to see it. When Pellegrini's out the door, Huselos will be out the door as well. And that'll tell you everything you need to know about the rotten culture at our club there.
But who signed Fornals? I mean, who signed Roberto? Do you think it was David Sullivan, saying, hey, guess what? I found this guy. No, that was them. That was Pellegrini, and that was Huselos, right? So, this is what we're seeing right now is their players not working and his system not working. That's what turned it for me.
Yeah.
I like that bottle, John.
There we go.
I'm just fucking so fed up though. I mean, it's one of those things where I listen, but people like you, John, and you, John, who have been so optimistic this whole long stretch of a nasty run. Absolutely. This goes back to last season though. I mean, it's been in patches. He hasn't, just when we think, he's figuring it out, we go on a shit little run or lose a couple matches we should have won. And then what happens is everybody forgets because we pull off a victory that we shouldn't have got. And then everybody's, oh yeah, here we go. We got it again. It's fine. No, it's a long-term plan, everybody. It's long. We get a 3-year plan. We got to give it to them. And then we'll lose again. And we'll lose 2 matches in a row again. And this happened last year quite a bit. It was a fucked up misery. I mean, last year was so stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, I think we were all so happy when Pellegrini got the job. He was given a lot of credit to start with, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think pretty much every fan, including myself, giving basically a full season of grace, really. Yeah. We didn't ask much the first season, didn't expect much. There were 10 new signings, new manager, etc., etc. But that excuse doesn't carry into this season. He signed the bones of 15 players. So this is his team.
Yeah.
I know there are still some leftovers, but he signed a lot of players and he spent quite a lot of money. So this season was the time for him to show us that he was a really good manager. And what we're seeing is the opposite. What we're seeing is somebody who doesn't have a clue what he's doing, apparently, and doesn't seem to really particularly give a shit.
The thing is, like you said, this is his team. The only two players in my book that are performing right now aren't his fucking team. I mean, you got Antonio, who's not his team. Okay, you got Robert Snodgrass, who's not his team, and those were the only two out there today that I thought actually did a half fucking decent job.
Mark
Okay,
Noble played
all of his.
fantastic. Mark Noble got the assist in the first goal. I mean, Mark
Well,
Noble
it's
was
well,
playing
no,
fantastic.
but I
He was
mean,
making beautiful
he's not fucking Team Pellegrini. He's
exactly.
fucking Team
So that's
West Ham.
three.
So
That's
there's
three
three of them.
players.
Okay, so to me, it's like it's as plain as the fucking beer gut that's sitting below this fucking screen here. That
Oh, don't say
in his
that
game,
about John down there.
yes, sorry, but
trying to say?
it's obvious that this guy was half decent at one point in his career.
Yeah.
And that he's just come along here, he's gone, I don't like China. It's a bit too humid. They're going to pay me a shitload of money to go do a few seasons in the Premier League. West Ham are gullible enough. I can get away with it the first year. And he's the wrong person at the wrong time with a fucking turnip for a head. He is fucking Wurzel fucking Gummidge.
So let's go clockwise, starting with John up top here. On that note, then why would we go after Rafa Benitez like everyone's saying that we're linked with?
We shouldn't. It's a ridiculous idea to
Yeah.
go after Benitez. He spurned us for Real Madrid back in the day, and we should have left him there.
He was successful in the past, right? He was.
Yeah, he was successful.
Just like it's Pellegrini all over again. He was successful in the past in the Premier League, and then he fucks off to China and does shit over there like Pellegrini did. Pellegrini didn't win a fucking title over there.
I think there's two from the bottom over there in the Chinese league, his team.
That's what I'm saying. So why is he even in the question? Why is he in the equation at all?
I like to think in rationality. I like to think in stats and numbers and things like that. But at the end of the day, there's some managers that work well for certain teams and others that won't. And I don't think Benitez is it for West Ham. I don't know who it is. I don't know if there's a savior out there somewhere. It's certainly not fucking Joe Cole, who was on TV today talking about being manager.
We will discuss it.
I love Joe Cole. Beautiful fucking player.
I love him too. I was there on his debut.
He's not the fucking second coming as a manager.
No, he's not even the first coming. He hasn't even fucking been a manager yet.
Has he even coached at all? Besides the Chelsea
youth badges, that's it. But I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. Tim, I'm getting more and more warm to your Kevin Nolan idea. I don't know. I don't know who it is. I just know what is happening now is not working. You go away on a 2-week break, and teams that play bad at least revert to fundamentals and doing the basics well. And none of that was there today. Not a single piece of doing the basics was there today. We've got a fucking Brazilian who can move the ball like fucking beautiful poetry in motion, and he can't take the ball simply into feet and move it around. We've got Fredericks at right back. He can't get his head up. We've got Cresswell who doesn't get his head up. We've got Diop who's 6'13" and can't head a ball. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't understand what they're doing behind the scenes to not do the basics well.
Wayne.
No, I was just going to say I'm with you. We've got this Brazilian that showed us in little glimpses last season that he can fucking move that ball and he can make people look like tosspots when he wants to, when he fucking wants to. So that takes me to the point that he realizes that we've all been fucking conned by this old Chilean cunt. We've all been conned by him, including the players that he brought on in. And he's like, why should I give a shit about fucking about going into a fucking like ball on tackle? Why should I give a shit when this old bastard just sits over there with a fucking cucumber up his ass all fucking match long? I think that's what it is. I think a lot of them are going, he doesn't have a fucking clue. They've played professional enough and long enough to know when a coach or a manager that they've got knows what the fuck they're doing.
John.
And they know that he doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing right now. And it's obvious. He's got no clue.
He's lost him, has he? Everybody?
I think he's totally, utterly fucking lost him. I think he's fucking lost him deep in the fucking woods. And I tell you what, and he didn't leave any fucking breadcrumb trail for anybody to find the fucking way out.
John.
You know, I actually think Rafa would be great for this club. And I know that that's not a popular thing to say. But if you look at how he got Newcastle stabilized, how he made them tough to beat, wouldn't it be amazing to have a West Ham team that was tough to beat? Wouldn't that be great? Because you know what? We all talk about Allardyce and say he was terrible and stuff. but I actually think he failed in that.
I would take him in a heartbeat, man.
Under Sam Allardyce, we just hoofed the ball, but that's not what Benitez is about. He's about fundamentals first, and then you build on that. Newcastle were had no right to even stay in the league when he was there. He had literally zero money. He did really well with them. He's done well everywhere he's been. China, who cares? Everyone just goes there to make some money. I don't care what his position is in China. I think he'd be fine for us. I tell you what we need to do though is if Rafa is stringing us along again or whatever, who cares? What about Chris Wilder? Look what he's done with Sheffield United. Look at what he's done with them, and
why would he come to us?
They play amazing.
They're Champions League, man, right now, or like European anyway. But
so you say that, but I feel like because a lot of people were saying that we should get I'm blanking on his name right now. Bournemouth.
Eddie Howe.
Yeah, Eddie Howe. I mean, and he'd be insane to leave the wonderful cush job where he's literally worshipped and will probably have a statue of
fucking
himself.
Palm trees everywhere.
I'd
It's a
take
beautiful place.
I'd take him, but he won't do it. Yeah,
No, why would he? He'd be insane.
We don't have enough money. But listen, here's the other thing before we get to Tommy. I watched the match with Lee today, and also Ken McGuire from the chat room was in there quite a bit. Ken was saying that our finances are fucked, and more than so than we even realize, and that we got a massive loan payment due in January back to the club. Like, we're not going to have the money to get rid of Pellegrini this season. I mean, it would take a mutual consent. Like, there's a rumor going around that he would leave by on mutual consent in order for him to leave. You think that he'd do that? But anyway, man, Rafa though, man, he first of all, it's the same tactics, dude. Though, if you actually research his formations and his tactics, he plays the same formation as Pellegrini. He does the same type of shit, except he likes to shift and lean toward the right hand side if he has, or whichever side he has the more powerful winger.
He doesn't play a 4-1-4-1. So I was watching
like a 4-2-3-1.
So I was watching the Man City match today, and something that even Newcastle did under Rafa, and that we seem to be completely unable to do, is move the ball from back to front without weird forced passing and having these large gaps in from defense to midfield. Everyone else seems to have really figured out, and the really good teams are amazing at this, at having that all linked together, because modern football is about space. It's about utilizing space. That's why the Germans were so great for a while, because they were kind of the first ones to really figure this out. And so we don't have that. We have these massive gaps. I mean, if you look at us tactically, we're all over the place. People know how to exploit us. We're so simple. You shut down Mark Noble. You sit between our static midfield and our central defenders that play this really high line that does not work, and then you beat us. And then it's so simple to break down and to beat. At least Rafa could snuff all that out. Look, I'm not saying he's my dream candidate, but I'm saying that is he better than Pellegrini? Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Tommy.
Yeah, I agree with John there. There's absolutely no question. There's no way we would be playing the way we are under Benitez. He knows how to get teams set up. He's tactically astute. And again, he wouldn't be my first choice either. But if you're offering me him or Pellegrini right now, see ya. If that's what it comes down to, that's what it comes down to. Thing I noticed today in the game, a ball would be played by Tottenham out from a centre back out to Dele Alli in the middle of the park, and there's nobody near him. He takes the ball to feet, turns, and he's just sailing up the pitch towards our penalty box. And there's just nobody near him. There's no pressure. He had the freedom of the park. That doesn't happen under Pellegrini. Now, it shouldn't happen under any competent manager, but it certainly wouldn't happen under Pellegrini. They would be under pressure in possession, and he would have them set up correctly, and he would get them playing a lot better than we're seeing right now. But having said that, ideally, I would actually prefer a younger manager who has a lot of ambition, who feels like a lot of his career is still ahead of him, and it is still trying to prove himself. Someone who really drive on the players and will demand a certain standard from them, because this is his career at stake. I know certain names. I don't think Eddie Howe would leave Bournemouth mid-season anyway, unless it was for a really big club.
Yes.
But whether he'd come to us at all is an open question, even in the summer, say at the end of the season. Perhaps he would. I don't know. Maybe he feels he's taken Bournemouth as far as he can and he wants a challenge. But he would be a great manager, I think. But there are also some very young managers out there. The likes of Steven Gerrard at Rangers, like Lampard, a young manager, very ambitious, played for a great club. He would have high expectations for the players. He would demand a certain level from them. You wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing now with players slacking off. I think Gerrard might be worth a shout. You've got Lee Bowyer down there doing a really good job at Charlton. West Ham fan, played for the club. So there are some options out there. Obviously, Kovac has been sacked recently from Bayern Munich. I don't think anyone would have a problem with seeing him coming in. So if we are to get rid of Pellegrini now, we do have options.
Yes.
And we can bring in a good manager. We wouldn't even need an interim manager, the likes of Chris Hughton, say, till the end of the season. We could get in a good manager right now, I believe. And I think we have to strike while the iron is hot, because the Everton and Arsenal jobs could be coming up for grabs soon too. So, we've got to move, I think, before those clubs so that we can get the manager we want.
Yeah, I was something just popped up on my Twitter feed, okay? And I just want to read it out real quick here. And I don't want to say who it's from, but he says, we are just 6 points off of 5th, you fucking miserable cunts. I mean, is this person got his head shoved up his ass?
It's a weird season.
What?
It's a weird season.
It's a weird season.
It's another one of those Leicester win the league seasons, apart from
the fact that we're just 6 points off of 5th does not take away from the fact that we're shit.
Yeah, we haven't won in 8 matches, dude.
I don't care where we are in the table right now. We are shit.
We're not going in a positive direction.
I know.
That's the point. Yeah.
We've taken 2 points out of a possible 21 the last 7 games.
But that's the kind of thing that would allow them to give Pellegrini a stay of execution. This is the kind of season that will allow Sullivan to bleed as much shit out of this club before he makes an actual decision. Yeah. So we need to be wary of that.
We were talking about owing the club money. We owe them money. We're paying them. They're making like 7% interest on the loans that they lent the club. So they're as long as we stay in the league and they can keep on soaking up that interest,
they won't care,
right?
So you just made a great point, though. So they want to stay in the league. They want the money.
They have to.
They don't want us to. They don't want us to go down. So,
but they don't act until it's in jeopardy.
Well, so they know that when
we not though?
When we turn, they get nervous. I mean, everything changed. Everything changed when at the Burnley game last season, right? When like it was a riot. It was a riot. So that scared them, and the threat of relegation. That's literally the only thing that scares them. They'll put up with anything. And they don't really care like we care, right? Now I don't care. David Gold says he grew up on 442, Green Street or whatever. I don't care. So we have to do something, and I think that we're getting to that point now. If they keep Pellegrini and there's another home game where we have that same kind of performance, you're going to see some crazy stuff erupt again. And if they don't act now, that's the situation they're going to find themselves in again.
And it needs to.
The next home game's against Arsenal.
Well, maybe that bomb found outside the stadium might cancel everything.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we could get Pellegrini to go over there and fucking defuse the bastard.
Wait,
stick his bonnet on top.
Neil just said that we're 3 points off of 18th, and obviously, if Villa wins on Monday, if they beat Newcastle on Monday, which could happen, we're down. We're down to. We're like right above the relegation zone, like literally.
We'll drop down to 17th if Villa win that game.
Yes, and we're also bottom of the form table in the entire Premier League right now. We are the worst team in the league on form. Think about that. Think about when we got Pellegrini, when we made all those signings, we got Allaire. Like, were you thinking, hell yeah, we may avoid relegation?
Well, we made that next level that the board promises, right? We're a next level of fucking torture now.
Karen,
Because I mean, I've been used to the level of torture over the past 30, 40 years. This is the next level of torture. This is like dangling the carrot at you and saying, "Oh, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there."
And here's
then
where
it's
I'm
the
so
same old shit.
frustrated, though, because it's exactly that. And you look at our starting 11 this year and you think that it's better than last year. I don't think anybody would really argue against that. We have a better first 11 than we did last year. So what is going on behind the scenes that they cannot get a performance out of that 11? I don't understand it. I don't think Haller is beyond reproach either, by the way. Who had 3 headers today and he can't stick his head on a ball properly. But
I tell you what, to me, they look like a group of players who just do not believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a mutiny. I don't think they've turned on Pellegrini. I don't think they've necessarily downed tools. They probably like Pellegrini, but they just look like players who just do not believe in what's going on in the training ground, don't believe in how they're being set up, and maybe don't even know what they're really supposed to be doing. They look like a bunch of lost players out there who are supposed to try to kind of make it up as they go, and they just don't have a clue what to do. And, that's a real indictment on Pellegrini to me.
Yeah, 100%. I kind of wonder if some of these players, so, they say a great manager, you can tell a great manager by making his players better, right? So, the players on the pitch, you think, I know what level of quality they have, and then they play above that, right? Or they get better, they improve. So the only way I can see that Pellegrini's done that is in Declan Rice. Literally the only way. Declan Rice is the only player that has grown under his tutelage. And then if you look, we have a lot of players that are playing way worse. And that is a damning statement. By the way, one you could also make of Mourinho. He never makes players play better, but I digress. And I have really, let's all pray and hope that he fails miserably at Tottenham. We gave him the easiest start he's ever had in management, first day on the job, but that's a different issue.
Did you see that crazy stat today where it said that he was 36-0-0 when his team was up by 2 goals at halftime in his career?
Yeah, but
no matter where he.
I saw that stat, but I'm not.
No, but not even a single draw though. No, but not even a single draw. There's a lot of teams that'll be up 2-0 at halftime, or 4 or whatever 2-1 or 3-1. That the team will come back and draw. But we almost drew. But again, not again.
His entire brand is based on defensive, like snidey, dirty, cheating football.
Speaking of dirty, cheating football, let's have a quick word here about Harry the Cunt Kane. Okay, let's have.
Don't even get me started on Kane.
Oh my God, what the fuck was he doing today? The lying, cheating, fucking dirty, filthy, fucking bastard.
Welcome, and I said on Twitter today, I said that is the only way I saw Mourinho in that team.
That's exactly what I saw.
Fouls, and he bitches about tactical fouls. Fuck you, buddy. He was all of them, but to be fair, that's very Spurs.
Yeah, that's true.
You won't see a more ridiculous yellow card than the one Diop got today all season.
My God!
Which puts him out for a game as well, by the way.
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous.
So he's
I was screaming Mike Dean at the TV this morning. I thought it was Mike Dean out there. It made no sense that Michael. I've never seen Michael Oliver have a worse match as a referee.
Well,
why the fuck isn't VAR introduced in that sort of situation? I think that and that's a whole nother fucking fuck up for this fucking season. Fucking VAR.
It's going to be like here in the United States, and that where everything is going to be, go to video review, and it's going to slow the game down to a glacial pace, and so what they're doing is their fear is making them misuse the technology.
They're already fucking misusing it.
I was very pro VAR because I thought it would be an evener. Yeah. I thought it would be a leveler for everybody. But in fact, it's only being used to benefit the better teams or the top teams anyway. Yeah. So in that regard, why even have it at this point if you're only going to use it in situations that benefit the top dogs, not the top ones?
Actually, would we maybe be better off instead of having VAR being used as it is, if we had an NFL-style challenge system? Maybe each manager gets 2 challenges during the game.
I've been saying that right at the beginning. I've been saying that since right at the fucking beginning. I said that's the way it should be. None of this fucking stuff for every fucking goal or anything. But put put the fucking the onus back on the men on the pitch. Make the ref make the right call, and if the manager of your team sees what's going on, then give them the opportunity to say 2 challenges per half. They can say, okay, this one's fucking wrong, and stop all this fucking with reviewing the goal shit and fuck all this, lark. It's fucking bullshit.
Did you guys see the Sterling goal that was disallowed against Chelsea today?
No,
I mean,
but I read about it.
absolute joke.
What was his
What
hair
happened?
offside? I mean, it's because it was against precious Chelsea.
Well, and they're not even showing the point of contact with the ball for the pass either. So at that point, it's all irrelevant. I don't get the way it's being used. I don't get why it's being used. I don't get why calls. If you're going to do something like this, it has to be a centralized system, and that way everybody is actually looking at all the games somewhere and judging them all accordingly. But right now, it seems like each individual game is treated separately, and that's why you get Snodgrass getting bundled over, and the Arsenal game, somebody's getting bundled over and it's actually being reviewed. We didn't even get the courtesy of a review. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well,
I'm hoping they can figure it out with VAR. It's a disaster at the moment. Somebody needs to take a real good look at it and say, look, we can either tweak this thing so that it works a lot better going forward, or just get rid of it. Because right now it's pointless.
Seriously, it is pointless. I think we were all excited because we were always the ones getting the shit into the stick. But that just goes to show that we always get the shit into the stick no matter what, especially when it comes down to referees. I think there just needs to be better training. There needs to be, I don't know, better referee training or something like that. They just need to expand their base, because basically it's VAR. I don't know, man. Like you guys,
It's trying to pussify the game. It's taking a beautiful fucking game and it's pussifying the game. Like that fucking tackle today that we did. I know why I can't remember, because I was fucking drunk. But I mean, we did a tackle. We got contact on the ball. And then because he makes contact on the ball and he accidentally touches the fucking player as well. He gets a fucking yellow card for it. Who was it that did that? Why can't I remember?
That was Ryan Frederick's tackle on Son.
Yeah, that was bullshit. Back in my day, that was a fucking clean, fucking nasty, good tackle. They're pussifying our game because it's not fucking corporate enough for the cunts.
No, well, it's also because it's on Son, who the media has been like, oh, poor dear. How terrible for him that he broke someone's leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a fucking joke.
And before the international break, I think there was a Villa player that made an absolutely brilliant tackle and got yellow carded for it. It's just ridiculous. A joke. You can't tackle anymore.
You can't be a defender anymore. I was a right back. The shit that I did, I deserved to get fucking carded for it, and I did. But I mean, you can't fucking be a defender anymore. You have to play in the box with your fucking arms strapped behind your back, standing totally fucking straight, and you can't do, and you can't fucking touch another player. It's all bullshit.
I was a goalkeeper, and I remember having to literally punch somebody in the kidneys so they would stop holding my hands for a corner kick so I could come up and get the ball.
At least we have a fucking goalie now that punches his own players in the fucking face.
Maybe I should just submit my video and like say, hey, Cam, I'll finish the season out for you.
God, he is so bad.
16, but how bad could it be?
How is Roberto still on the fucking field? And you can't blame everything on that guy. You can't blame everything on him because
how's he still in London at this point, Wayne?
How's he fucking still alive?
How does Pellegrini go?
Why hasn't somebody fucking tracked him down and fucking stabbed him?
How does Pellegrini say that they have faith in him?
Well, it's because he has no choice. It's because
he has to. Yeah, he has to.
They brought him in, and they were like, oh, well, so we're forgetting that we're saying that he was the cheap option. He was the familiar option. He's their friend. They trust him.
Yeah.
Right. So they all worked with him.
Boy network.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't a David Sullivan problem, which I would say 90% of our problems are, but this is not. This is not a David Sullivan problem. This is a Pellegrini and Husitas problem. Because they brought him in, they knew him, they worked with him.
And I'll tell you what, he's playing a dangerous game right now, Pellegrini, because he better be willing to get the sack for Roberto, because that's what it's going to lead to. 100%. If he wants to keep playing this guy and refuse to give David Martin a shot in goal, they might both be fucking off out the club on the same day.
But like they brought Martin in as essentially a coach, right? And he's not. I don't think they ever thought he would put gloves on and be out on the pitch. I don't think that was the intention at all, and that's why now he doesn't know what to do. He's backed himself into a corner with this terrible recruitment, and I said on Twitter today, I said the fact that Roberto is our reserve goalkeeper, that alone now is a sackable offense. Like if you go into a season expecting that nothing will happen to one player, you're supposed to have good. Any decent side has two players that should be able to compete for a position on the pitch. So the fact that we have, and we had that. I mean, like I mean, there are a lot of people on KUNB who like swear that Adrian should have been our starting goalkeeper over anyone. I mean, like rabid fans of Adrian, and like like you can say yes or no with that, but at least there's a conversation to be had. No one. I mean, on the BBC today, they were taking the piss out of Roberto. They were like the comments. I mean, I was looking at it out of morbid curiosity, and like they were like absolutely taking the piss. Honestly, I feel bad for him.
The Sun said he is the worst keeper of all time.
He's shit. And listen, goalkeeper injuries are rare. They are rare. Nobody thought we were going to lose Fab, but we have. And now you have to deal with the situation. So deal with it. You cannot continue with this fella.
No, so and instead of Martin, how bad is Nathan Trott? Bring him up, man. I mean, like, are they? What's the worst thing?
We can't. It's contractual. We cannot recall him until January, when Wimbledon would be able to replace him by loaning in another keeper. So we can't, unfortunately, bring Trott back. But we could promote Anang from the under-23 squad. He's playing
what
really
we could
well.
do, we could put fucking Yarmolenko in goal, because he sure as fuck ain't a fucking winger.
Why did we ever get rid of Lansbury?
That's it.
Right? Who remembers Lansbury in goal? That's one of my favorite.
I remember Jenkinson in goal. Jenkinson did a great job in goal.
Well,
anybody would be better than this guy. Anybody or anything.
Well, Antonio could go in goal. He'll give it everything.
Yeah.
He'll put everything into his goalkeeping, and he'll probably surpass Roberto in a week's training.
Richard Walton said the same thing. That's funny. In the chat room.
No, but I mean, look, the question has to be asked, like, if Pellegrini survives today's result, and we go to Stamford Bridge next week, and he names Roberto in goal, well, fucking strap yourselves in, because
there'll be pitch invasions for sure.
It's going to be.
I mean, we could concede any number of goals in that game at Stamford Bridge.
I mean,
it could get real ugly.
I saw them, like I said, I watched that match today against City, and they lost, but like they look so good. Like evidently poaching everyone's young players illegally is a really good strategy. The young talent they have on that team, and the transfer ban is like the best thing that ever happened to them, right? So now they have to play those young English players, and they're fabulous. So like we are going to get destroyed when we play them. They're so athletic, they're rapid. I mean, they move the ball beautifully. They pass. Mount almost scored this like 30-yard free kick, and I was just like, get out of town, we're dead.
And we're shit on the road. So
you know that Moyes was looking to buy him, right?
I mean, who now in hindsight doesn't say that Moyes shouldn't have been given more time?
He should have been.
I wanted him to have a bit more time. I thought that he earned it at the time.
I did. Who didn't
too.
think Pellegrini was an upgrade, though?
Oh, I did. I did. I was excited.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
No, I can't be two-faced about that. Look, Moyes did a job that he was asked to do. He did it okay. I did not want him to be given a contract, a full-time, long-term contract. I don't think he's the kind of manager that would have really taken us anywhere. I don't really blame the board for the Pellegrini thing. I was very, very happy when we got Pellegrini. I thought, this is the guy who's going to take us on here.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you bring in a new manager, there's always an element of risk. There's always a gamble element where you just cross your fingers and say, right, hopefully this is the guy that does a great job for us. there is no surefire guarantee unless you're going to the very, very top of the tree, bringing in, like a Klopp or someone like that. Or
like there are people on Twitter saying, "Bring in Pochettino." Are you joking?
Oh, he's not coming in.
Like,
He's not coming in.
Give me a break. The guy's going to go play at the. I mean, like, he is going to go and lead one of the best teams in the entire world.
Yeah, he's waiting for Zidane to get sacked.
He's he's one of the top 2 best young managers in the entire world. Him and Klopp. I mean,
And listen, Tommy, as well. Everybody, listen. There's plenty out there that are saying. There's a couple in journalism saying, "Oh, Pellegrini was a lazy hire, if you will." Right? We've started to hear that. And you know what? Fuck off. That's revisionist history. Because where were you 2 years ago saying it was a lazy hire?
They were all saying it was the best thing that happened.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It definitely was.
I know what they say. It's easy to have a PhD in hindsight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I yearn for the old days of the East End where, if you had like trouble like this with Pellegrini or this tatted twat in goal, you make a phone call, you stick your 2p in the fucking slot, you get one of the brothers on the phone, and then fucking next morning, Roberto would wake up in the river. And that's the way it should fucking be.
He'd be in a concrete flyover, Wayne.
Yeah, he would be, wouldn't he?
Right,
he would be, and that's the way it'd be. Back in the old days, it was.
All right, we have 10 minutes left. Just so you know, Wayne.
I'm going all night, Tim. I'm angry. I'm going all night.
Hold on. We had 10 minutes. I just want to say that we got to start talking about what we think. And what's funny? We'll be in the river. That's funny. Nikki said that on West Ham Fan TV. No. So, what are our thoughts on what we should do? So, be honest here. Do you think he needs more time? You think he needs another match? If you say he needs to go, what are the options? Like, seriously, give us 2 or 3 that you would be satisfied with, or you see we realistically would get.
Okay, if I can. Yeah, thank you. No, he's got to go. His time is up. But the fact that he rocked up to the Spurs game today, the same formation, the same kind of players essentially in the same positions, and we watched the same crap. And we'll see it again at Stamford Bridge next week. Roberto will be in goal. 4-2-3-1, basically the same players. You might swap 1 or 2 out, and we'll get a fucking tonking. So I don't see anything changing. So he's got to go. And like I said, we do have options. There are good managers out there that we can approach to bring in. The worst case scenario is you go to Chris Hughton and you bring him in even just to the end of the season. And then, by the summer, you've got someone lined up or whatever. So I don't see any way back for Pellegrini purely because of his stubbornness. He just won't change it. And he'll keep playing Roberto. And by the time Fabianski comes back, we'll be in the relegation zone and we'll be deeply in the shit. And then we'll sack him. And then whatever manager comes in has a lot less time to get us out of it. So I think we just sack him as soon as possible. Like I said, before Everton and Arsenal pull the trigger on their guys, and then there's them all looking for the same managers essentially and fighting it out to try and get the best one. We should act first, change it now, and get this fucking season turned around while we still can.
All right, let's go counterclockwise. So, John?
I think he's got to go. I think that, they say the table doesn't lie. And it doesn't, I mean, what you said, we haven't won in 8 matches. We've was it the last 3 games? We've shipped 3 goals. I mean, at the very least, in this league at this level, you can't ship goals. You've got to be able to limit your opposition, and we don't even. It's laughable how terrible we are at that right now. And anytime we've got relegated or anytime we've had a manager fired, it's always been based on our defending. It's always been shipping goals, and so I think it was a great idea. Clearly, he's not up for it anymore. I don't think he's terrible. I think that Wayne, Wayne's heart's in the right place, but I think that he's not that he's terrible. I think he's outdated. I don't think he knows how to turn it around anymore. What worked for him 10, 15 years ago is not working, and he doesn't know. So, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter why. He's got to go. It's not worked out. We're in a bad place. I have no problem with Rafa Benitez coming in, stabilizing the ship, managing us for 3 years, finishing 10th, finishing 8th, finishing 11th, rock and roll mentally. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't think we have any God-given right to be, in the European places. We're West Ham United. Like it's we're not Tottenham. We don't think we should win the league every year simply because we wear white kits. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Tottenham. That's not us. And if not Rafa, bring in a talented English manager who is, you know what? In fact, bring in anyone who will hire an athlete that will be in the middle of our pitch that can run. I mean, because we are crying out for talent in midfield, and no one seems to be able to go after that. So, someone like Chris Wilder, someone like Hal. I mean, like if we could somehow convince Hal, beautiful. I just don't think it would happen. But he's got to go, and we've got to bring in someone who's going to be able to make us stop shipping goals, and then show for the freaking ball. Like I don't. We are the most static team in the league. We've got the ball, and you see people look up, and their heads swivel, and no one's moving. Everyone's watching. I mean, that is the definition of bad football. So, someone who can actually make us move, someone who can make us more dynamic, and someone who can make us maybe play some defense every once in a while.
Before we get into Wayne, I just want to mention that since we beat Manchester United, we lost 4-0. So that means we get 4 goals against Oxford. We lost 2-2. Sorry, drew 2-2 to Bournemouth. That gives we get up 2 goals against Bournemouth. We get up 2 goals against Crystal Palace. We gave 2 goals against Everton. Sheffield United is the only one that we gave up 1 goal. You know what I'm saying? So 3 goals against Newcastle, 3 goals against Burnley, 3 goals against Spuds. I mean, that's sad, dude. I mean, we haven't had a clean sheet since United. You know what I mean? And that was United's like C squad, the under 23s we played. So I don't know. Anyway, that's a stat based off of what you were saying there, John. You were talking about how like 3 in a row with three goals. Well, it goes further than that. I mean, at least 2 goals in a lot of those matches. That's fucking ridiculous. So Wayne, what do you think, my man? Yeah, I can. Yeah. Yep.
No, I mean, like I was going to say anything different. I think what you said made a lot of sense. He's outdated. The good ideas he had, people have taken and adapted and made them great ideas. And he is too stubborn and too outdated to figure out that he is a fucking dinosaur. It's sad. I very much was excited when we appointed him. I thought it was a great idea. And you know what? He's been a major disappointment. And if you really want to get to the next level, you shouldn't be rolling the dice on some of the major players on your team. I mean, the fact, and I think the whole Roberto thing stems down to one thing, and that is that the board wouldn't loosen up the purse strings to give him a couple more players that he needed, so he had to look for a way to try and get that money together, letting Adrian go and picking a couple of dirt cheap goalies. You get what you pay for, or you get what you don't pay for, and the old boy network has got to fucking go. So yeah, his time's done. I mean, West Ham's Twitter account's been quiet all day, so I'm hoping that's a sign that we'll wake up in the morning and they'll be like, Pellegrini has been called in to meet with the lads, and he's no longer the manager. That's what I'm hoping. Now, as to who we get to replace him, Chris Hughton, I think would be a nice one to start off with, just to get through to the end of the season. I really do. I think, quite frankly, anybody's to get us through to the end of the season. But I would really like to see Nicky Kovac. I'd love to see him come in. I think he's got some good ideas. He's managed at a top level club. He's disciplined. I'd like to see him come in as a manager. Quite frankly, at this point, I'm so fucked off with this miserable old bastard that I'd take anybody. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel, is that we've had enough of Mr. P.
Yep. John.
I'm upset, Tim. I'm really upset, I got to say. I've always been somebody who prided myself on kind of the West Ham mentality, the working class mentality, where you give somebody a go, you stick by your people, you stick by your manager. But I don't think we can stick by him anymore. I think it's time for a change. And like I said, I was in that 30% of Pellegrini in. I wanted to see him turn it around. I think the performance this weekend is not good enough. If we don't get somebody in now, we get them in later, and then you're just delaying the inevitable of 3, 4, 5 games where they actually have to implement their style. So get them in now and turn it around. Who is that? You know what, Tim? That ain't my job. That's Huselos's job. And I don't think he's going to be here to actually make that fucking decision, which, again, is a problem culturally of our club and the way things are run. So it's not my job to say who it should be. It should be the club's decision. Unfortunately, we've hired a director of football that is mates with Manuel Pellegrini instead of doing it the other way around, and getting a director of football in that is a caretaker of our club, of our culture, of everything that West Ham is supposed to be about the way we play football, about the way we have an academy, about the way that our team sets up, about the way that our direction is, about the way we pass the ball, about our formation, about everything that we are culturally as a club. That is what that position is supposed to be about. And we do not have that. Instead, we've appointed a manager. We've allowed his mate to come in charge. We've allowed them to take over transfers instead of, because we were all shouting out for David Sullivan to get out of the fucking market and get out of the way so that real football people could do the job. And we didn't do that. And instead, that's why you see rumors. That's why you see David Sullivan leaking shit to people left, right, and center. That is why you have Huselos, who is completely silent on everything. That's why Pellegrini doesn't feel any pressure under his job whatsoever, because it's all a fucking conspiracy behind the scenes. Instead of actually running something the right way, instead of running a corporation, and let's not fucking kid ourselves, that's what we're trying to be. We've rebranded. We've gone to a big stadium. We're trying to be a corporation, a real business. And if we're going to do that, then you have to be professional. And we haven't taken one step forward as a professional organization at all. So I'm on a rant. I'm sorry. You guys have made me drink a lot of fucking whiskey tonight. It feels good. But if we're going to do something the professional way, then do it the professional way. Get the right man in for the job. Get somebody that is above the situation. Get somebody that is in above football. Get somebody that is in above everything, that is not the owners, is allowed to run a football club as a fucking football club, is allowed to get managers, is allowed to get players, and instead is not made a scapegoat for all the shortcomings of a manager, of the owners, of everything else, and run this club the way that we as fans deserve.
Yeah, well.
And tell Karen Brady to keep her fucking mouth shut while he's at it.
Please. Jesus Christ, please.
All right, so my thoughts, it goes back to last season. We were all excited when he came in, like you all said. He was definitely an upgrade over Moyes. I mean, we all thought that anyway. And then we start the season off with 4 straight defeats, and it's okay. He's still new. Oh, but wait, we have the scheduling gods against us. We had to play like these big clubs. That's bullshit. And then we start to win a few games, and Yarmolenko got injured, so that's the reason why we're going to start losing again after we won some matches again. And then the January saga with Arnautovic, that should never have fucking happened. That should just never would have fucking happened if we had a fucking boss in charge. You know what I'm saying? He would have fucking bitch slapped his ass. So that's the only reason why I jokingly thrown out Kevin Nolan, dude. I'm not saying, I know it's not the logical choice. I'm just saying, if we had at least hire the fucking guy to be in the dressing room and bitch slap these people, you know what I'm saying? And like that are bunch of fucking babies, or even bitch slap the coaching staff that aren't doing their fucking job. We need him as like the director of fucking football or something. Anyway, we need someone like that, is my point. I don't give a shit who it is. I don't give a shit if it's Scotty Parker, even though his tactics do not impress me. His management skills do not fucking impress me one bit. But he's that type of guy that I would want. The same thing with Allardyce. I mean, I fucking, that's the type of fucking swagger we fucking need. We're missing that. You know, compared to, you know, Pellegrini, who fucking just, I don't know, everything seems to be fine to me. You know, my angry face. Hold on. Yeah, I would have replaced everybody at halftime.
Cucumber slicer.
He doesn't fucking change. He's got no emotion or nothing. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just, you know, adjusting his tie like fucking Liam always likes to say on our show. You know, he doesn't do shit. He's always whispering to fucking RC over there, Ruben Cuckafarts, whatever the fuck his name is. What's his fucking job? What the fuck does he do? What does he do? What does Ruben do?
Tim.
What does Zavi do?
He pushes
what
the
does all these
cucumber
other
up a little
fuckers
bit further.
I've never wanted Allardyce back more. Listen, I've never wanted him back, but when Snodgrass tackled Kane today and he fell on his ass trying to grab something, how hard would Allardyce have laughed at that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it would have been beautiful, wouldn't it?
100%.
It would have been so funny.
He wouldn't have lost to Mourinho. He would not have lost.
In the entire internet is Allardyce laughing at Chico Flores. You guys remember
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Oh yeah. And his rants when the press conferences after he played Jose Mourinho, those are always funny. He loved playing against him. He was always up for that. But no, or even against Tottenham, he knew the important fucking games and shit like that. That's the one thing I liked about him. But anyway, that's the type of guy I would have if we're gonna, you know, sign someone just for the remainder of the season to keep you up. We need someone with spirit, with fucking passion, with something to keep us out of relegation. Rafa has no fucking personality. He's like, ho, 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 ho. I mean, fuck you. No, fuck you. No, anyway, before I gotta get back on track. Hold on.
That's why I said we need a manager who isn't towards the end of his career. Someone whose career is still on the line, someone whose reputation is still on the line, that gets angry when the players fuck it up.
I agree with you, but the only thing I don't agree with you, Tommy, and someone else mentioned this too, was Chris Hughton. I mean, he does not fucking impress me whatsoever as a manager. If you look at his fucking, so I'm a stats guy. If you look at his stats, it's really not impressive, man. And not only that, like, he hasn't really been the best at. I mean, he keeps clubs up, but
sorry, just to clarify, Tim. I mentioned him only as a potential interim manager till the end of the season.
Yeah.
But if you couldn't get a permanent manager immediately, I wouldn't have him long term either.
Listen, that's a real issue that we face right now as well. So yes, I'd love that. I'd love somebody with a plan and a project, but we're not going to get that person till the summer at this point. So
just not having a guy that has any fucking soul or passion or gives a shit about, you know, the badge of club. But also needs a tactical brain in their head. So, you know, Bilic, you know, he had the passion, but he had not a fucking tactical ounce of anything in his body.
Let's get Afro Grant.
We don't need that. But at the same time, but Chris Hughton's one of those guys who I think that he'd be more tactical, even though I'm not that impressed, than passionate. He's not passionate at all. He's a little fucking pipsqueak. I mean, I wouldn't listen to him. If he fucking yelled something to me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you? You fucking former Tottenham spud face. Get out of my face. You know what I mean? Like, the players need an ass kicking. They need someone more than a fucking Mark Noble in the dressing room to do that. They need someone more than just somebody in the dressing room, you know, yelling at each other. They need some boss man to come in and say, fucking shape up or ship out. I'm going to kick your fucking little teeth in, you little whiny bitch. If you don't fucking start playing, get the fuck out, or I'll bend you. You can cry all you want.
You sound an awful lot like Lee Bowyer right now, Tim.
I'd take Lee. I mean, I would. I would. I would take Lee Bowyer, but, you know, at the same time, like, there's a lot of guys in our team that would beat the shit out of Lee Bowyer. I mean, Lee Boyer's aggressive. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if they'd be. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of us here that could probably beat the shit out of Lee Bowyer. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
the biggest guy.
Lee Bowyer got into it with Kieran Dyer at Newcastle. I mean,
that was brilliant.
He was punching him right in his face. He didn't give a shit.
I know. So he'd be up. I'm not saying he'd definitely be up for a fight.
So Tim, what I hear you saying?
No, I know he doesn't give a shit. He'd be up for a fight.
But what I hear you saying is,
would he win? I don't know. But
have you seen the bookies list of like potential next West Ham managers? There's a guy in there who I think that's what you're really saying is we should go for Roy Keane.
Fuck him. No.
Roy Keane,
no, listen. And this is something I grew up watching Ireland on my grandfather's knee, right? I support Ireland before I support England, and everybody in the chat room is going to go fucking nuts over that one. But Roy Keane left Ireland at the time they needed him most. He can fuck off, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm with you on that one.
He's an asshole.
Tom, this is a perfect segue for you, Tommy. Go on, son.
I don't know.
No, look, obviously nobody wants Roy Keane at the club. He's better on Sky Sports, just cutting into a few people. It's entertaining, good to listen to, but that's all it is, you know. And it's the same as those people, you know, that you get some of the West Ham fans on Twitter saying, "Oh, get Di Canio in there. He light a fire under them, and he won't take any shit." Di Canio's a terrible manager. Sorry. We're going nowhere under Di Canio, and we probably will have a.
We're going nowhere in the public meeting.
No, but I don't think Di Canio is the answer. You know, as a manager, no. Loved him as a player, great character, but not as our manager. That's not.
Roy Keane's not. I'm sorry.
If something like that happened, I would not. I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it. Like if we signed to someone like a Di Canio with the shitty management skills, as long as they pulled what they did with Moyes and said, "Listen, man. You need to bring in Alan Irvine. You need to bring in Stuart Pearce. You need to bring in a backroom staff that actually knows what the fuck they're doing." You know what I'm saying? If he surrounded himself with the right people, on the training pitch.
But that's what it is, and it's got to find that right balance, right? So we as football fans want to see emotion, but I don't want to take passion over progress. We need to have somebody that actually knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Allardyce's training skills and defense, along with Manuel Pellegrini's supposed offensive skills, along with Paulo Di Canio's passion, there you fucking go. Perfect man.
Listen, get back Allardyce and put Bilic next to each other, because that overlap of the first half year of that season of Bilic, where they still had Allardyce's defensive skills, was fine by me. Stick them both in the same room and make them figure it out.
A player who's playing the best season of his career and who is a sublime footballer who lost it after that and went back to France and didn't do the same thing. So, we had that under Bilic. But I think Tommy was right in saying that we don't need, I think it was you, Tommy, that said that, there are a lot of amazing managers that are out there available right now. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to make the mistake of getting another Moyes and just putting it off until the summer. We need to pull the trigger on Pellegrini, get that done. We need to move heaven and earth, and whoever we think is the best manager we can possibly get at West Ham United, not for tomorrow, but for 3 years from now, we should go and say, here is everything you've ever wanted. Make this club special.
Sam, can I ask a question?
Quick, yeah.
Who are we? Who do we want to be? And who is the person that epitomizes who we are? And whoever the fuck wants to start. But I think that's question number one. Who are we? Who do we want to be? And who can best get us to that point? Who are we?
We're nobody. That's the question that needs to be asked of the players right now.
If you ask,
and that's why we're in that. That's why we're in the shit trouble we're in right now. Is nobody's asking that question. They don't know who they want to be.
So you know who I want to be? I want to be the best version of to be very fair. And I hate Tottenham, but Pochettino. We can't get him. But you ask who I want to be. I want to press. I want opposition to be terrified of me. I want to have a great defense, but they still pass the ball. They move it. They get up there. They score. They utilize the pitch. I mean, like, you look at Tottenham at their best under Pochettino. They were absolutely brilliant. He also could get the best out of players. I mean, they didn't sign players forever, and then he still had them playing beautiful football. So something like that where we actually press. We play a modern game because we don't press. Like, modern football is about hunting in packs. You know what I mean? I mean, like, they go out there and they pressure the ball. They don't let you play the way you want to play. And we let everyone play the way they want to play. I mean, like, the thing that we always say about West Ham is we make anyone look like Barcelona, right? I mean, we really do. We sit back and watch and go, that was a great pass. And that's what we do. And so someone who can, at the very least, stop that, make us, a little bit tougher or harder to beat and build on that.
It's not like we're asking a lot here, is it? I mean, whatever manager comes in, we're not saying to him you have to go and win the league. We're not saying you have to get us in Champions League. We're saying, look, we want to play good stuff. We want to win some games. We want to finish inside the top 10, and the cup run would be really nice. You would think there would be a lot of managers who could swing it. You know, I think there'd be a lot of managers who can manage that fucking much. We're not trying to ask you to move heaven and earth here, for fuck's sake. Like, Pellegrini is a good enough manager, supposedly big enough reputation. Surely he can keep us in the fucking top 10 and maybe go on a nice FA Cup run, give us something to cheer about. But apparently that's too fucking much. Surely we can find a manager who can do that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently we can't.
All right. So, real quickly, I'm going to leave it with this. We have a shit show of matches coming up. I mean, it doesn't matter who we bring in. Even if we brought somebody in tomorrow, the likelihood of them getting results against Chelsea, Wolves, away, Arsenal at home, Southampton is never an easy fixture, even though it was easy for us at the end of last season, but that was
Palace.
So were Spurs, so were everybody else at the end of the last season. And then we got it's Palace away too, shit. And then Leicester. We got Leicester twice in 2 months. Like that's not, I'm not looking forward to that at all. But like you were saying, Tommy, and also I think pretty much everybody else agrees, if we're gonna sack him, we got to sack him now, and the best time is now because we got these shitty fixtures coming up. That doesn't really, it won't. Even if we brought somebody in, we wouldn't hold it against them if they lost against fucking Wolves or Chelsea or whatever. As long as the point is, we have to give them the full month of January to at least sell and bring in whoever they feel that they need. Give them the full month, not fucking wait until a week before the end of January and say, you know what, you got a week. Who the fuck do you want? Who do you want to get rid of? You know, that would be stupid. Or not at all. Wait till fucking March or so. That's ridiculous. Until we're deep in the relegation zone, like 20th. You know, we got to do it now. We got to do it now. That's the message we have. I don't know if we're gonna. There might be a part 2 of this. John, is there gonna be a part 2 of this?
Which John? I have no idea.
Both of you. I think you're gonna go.
Maybe.
Yeah,
do we want some?
Stay tuned.
We can do a little football phone in if anybody from the chat room wants to.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break here, and then John, and if I don't know if Tommy wants to stick around, but basically Wayne and I have to leave. I mean, I gotta go to bed. But anyway,
Let me just clear up. We're not going to bed together.
Yeah, I've got to leave now as well. It's 3:15 in the morning here.
Oh,
so
that's right. Well, Thomas, listen, thank you so much for popping in. It was definitely awesome, and we got to get your interview sometime. Usually we get the interview before we bring people on.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
All right, we'll schedule that off the air. Cool.
Perfect.
Wayne,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, man. So Wayne, West Ham is why we drink. Yeah, podcast. Check it out. It's already out. Check it out. iTunes, all that other good stuff. And Friday Night Likes is awesome. Check that out if you haven't already. We're gonna have some of the
John
merch. John's been on Friday Night Likes.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. See, yeah. So, yeah, we got some more shit. Oh yeah. So tomorrow, I have Shedman from More Than Just a Podcast. Me and Steve Mothersole are going to interview Shedman, and we're going to do our weekend review show with Lee and Sully, and I think Charlie Boy and a couple others. I'm going to do another 5-way, which will be nice. Those are, I guess, all right. But yeah, anyway, looks like the chat room wants people back. So if John and John want to do a John and John special, John Nolan knows how to do it. So we'll stay tuned.
All right.
Come on, you Irons. Sack Pellegrini.